Well, both Iowa state legislators and federal legislators are starting to weigh in on social media, which is why I'm going to talk to Representative Taylor Collins, who's a leader on education issues in the Iowa House, right after the 7:30 news. Legislators clearly indicating that they're monitoring these social media posts and they're monitoring how Iowa school districts are reacting to them. Meanwhile, on the federal level, what was meant to be a moment of silence after the death of Charlie Kirk descended into a shouting match between U.S. House members. Here to talk that over with me, political reporter at the Daily Mail, conservative commentator, and a proud naturalized American citizen, Victoria Churchill returns to the Davison Family Dentistry Newsmaker line. Victoria, welcome back to WHO. Good morning.
Good morning. So always great to be back on with you, Jeff.
Absolutely.
You know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was definitely a shocking moment on the House floor when, it's interesting, even the coverage of this moment. I actually wrote up an article yesterday about how CNN covered the moment versus what actually happened. But, what had originally happened in this sequence of events was that Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado had asked for a moment of silence, a request to hold a prayer for Kirk, at a moment when his condition was unknown. The Democrats object, not all of them, but a handful. Our estimates at the Daily Mail were that about a dozen Democrats said no. And then Representative Anna Paulina Luna, she's been a Kirk ally for a while. She worked for Turning Point at one point in her career, and, she herself said that she wouldn't even be in office if it wasn't for his efforts and the efforts of Turning Point and Turning Point Action. But Luna, said, y'all own this to the Democrats. So, it was definitely very heated. And, of course, a lot of these lawmakers know Kirk personally. Of course, he's an ally of the president and the vice president. And, I think a lot of people think that they wouldn't even be in office if it weren't for him. But that also extends down for lawmakers. Senator Mike Lee was one of the first people to actually post about the shooting because that happened, of course, in his home state of Utah. And, Lee shared a tweet that Kirk sent to him just as he arrived on the state and was about to go to the campus. And, the line was something along the lines of like, I think this will be a good one, or I think this will be a special one. And so, Kirk, of course, he was looked up to by so many young conservatives, Gen Z conservatives, but he was also a personal friend to a lot of members of Congress and, a lot of people that work in the Trump administration today.
So, Victoria, that said, there's a lot of talk of, okay, we got to tamp down the rhetoric. But is that really possible at this point? Well,
it's interesting. I was listening to the intro just before I hopped in. Kirk's whole mission was about having rhetoric, and he would get into fiery debates with people that he disagreed with, which I think is lost on a lot of people on the left that are kind of coming into even knowing about him. There's a lot of posts that are saying, like, who even was this guy? And, I think you have to be kind of oblivious to not have known, because even if you were somebody on the left, he debated you. He was supposed to go up and have a debate just 2 weeks from now with Hassan Piker, a very, very leftist, very progressive streamer. And, that was supposed to happen just like I said, just about 2 weeks from now. But that, I think, just goes to show that Kirk really believed in America, really believed in the ability to have proper debates. And, I've even seen some other conservative commentators online go on and say that they want to continue the tour in his honor and they want to make appearances on these campuses, to really carry forward his mission.
Victoria Churchill, she's a conservative commentator and a reporter for the Daily Mail, political reporter. Victoria, always great to get your perspective. Thanks.